So this is a project of the County of Maui Environmental Protection Division to recycle cardboard into a viable weed mat that we perforate through a machine that we have. And in essence, what this is to replace is fabric and plastic weed mat that doesn't do anything to help the soil. This project is in conjunction with Kalima o Maui and J.D. Wyatt, the executive director. We're in collaboration and cooperation with them to be able to utilize their services to take this perforated cardboard. We've been storing it here, and then we're going to take it up to the farm and have their clients lay it out. You okay? So this is perforated cardboard weed mat, and the beautiful thing about it is it lays down really nice. It conforms to whatever geology is there, and it stays down. So when it gets wet, it just comes to the soil, and as it deteriorates, that carbon will, especially adding it to a soil that has organic matter in it, it will break down eventually, break down that cardboard into carbon, which will help build the soil health. Fabric and plastic weed mat doesn't do that. It's hard like a rock, but if you use this material and use it as a layer cake, adding calcium to the soil, which we're deficient here in Hawaii, we're deficient in calcium. So by adding the calcium to the soil, along with the perforated cardboard weed mat, you can make a layer cake which will build soil carbon and at the same time mitigate weed growth. So it's really a beautiful alternative to not dealing with at all the soil, other than just covering it with plastic and fabric, which eventually you have to rip up. It doesn't biodegrade, whereas this does. And that's what we want. We want to have beneficial microorganisms populate the top 7 inches of the soil. So that gives you more a better soil to grow plants in, which will be healthier for the people that are eating those plants and healthier for the environment. Keeping it out of the landfill too, which is a big thing. This project is in partnership with Kalima o Maui, and they're doing great work in the community, giving folks that are disabled an opportunity and purpose in life and in job opportunities. And so, the reason why we perforate this cardboard in this project is because the difference in laying cardboard, just unperforated cardboard down, what happens is when it gets wet and dries and gets wet again, it gets all, not good. It gets all warped and it's not very good. It doesn't let the moisture get through as evenly. It doesn't let air get through. That's where you want to get the biological growth going, the beneficial biological growth going, and the perforations allow for that because the microorganisms populate inside the perforations, and it really helps in building your soil in that respect. So it's you could use regular cardboard and not be perforated. Better that than using fabric or plastic, but at the same time it doesn't do as well as using it perforated.
How's it going, man?
Hey,
Ricky, right?
Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah.
People don't realize what a farmer goes through to pull off a crop, to actually, all people know is they want to go to the store and they want whatever they want and they want to be able to buy it, and they look at it and they go, why is it so expensive, So it's a situation where the cost of that can come down once more and more people are aware of the fact that it takes a community to grow our food. And it takes a community to be in touch with the fact that, especially with the storm, all the materials that are now going into the landfill that don't necessarily have to go into the landfill, that can be repurposed and upcycled into soil building materials for our farmers, to make available for our farmers. So this is just a piece of that puzzle that we're putting into play, not just talking about it, but we're doing something about it. And really excited about what's possible in that respect, and appreciate Maui County's willingness to get in there and make a difference in that respect.
No, but it'll be easier to the other side too, eh?
Yeah.
You want to put it back on the ratchet straps? You hear about regenerative farming, and regenerative is about restoring vitality to the soil. That's regenerative farming.
Repairing the damage of kind of strip farming.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
It takes so much to to produce food on the farm, and it's like this kind of help here where effectively we got the whole community is collaborating to help us all achieve the common goal of food security.
There you go.
We're here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's like we need to use the resources that we have instead of just feeling like you gotta always import brand new for everything. It's like this waste stream is super valuable. I'd say one of the biggest inputs on our farm has been the hardwood sawdust. From like the
cabinet shops and stuff.
From the door and window. That they have the untreated hardwood sawdust, and it's like very precious because we can use that as that carbon, to help make our compost piles work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fire them up.
Yep. With all the animal manure and like bedding, for the chickens and the goats, we use the wood shavings and the sawdust.
Right on.
So it's great because especially the hardwood, it's like, you're looking for 30-to-1 ratio with
carbon to nitrogen.
Yep, carbon and nitrogen, and on some of the hardwoods you can have like 500-to-1.
Wow.
So it's just versus like a softer wood like a fir or whatever, it might only be like 50 or 80-to-1. So the hardwood it takes a lot longer to break down.
Yeah.
So it's like feeding a lot more families basically. These families of the different microbes.
Right.
Speaking of communities, that's essentially what we're doing here is we're supporting these communities,
vitality, right?
We're providing housing complexes for all these microbes.
Yep.
So we do this part, and then we're the landlords creating that, and then they do the work. They're the ones breaking everything down and mineralizing and
stand back and let the universe do the math.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
within its laws, and that's the
Yep.
beautiful thing. We understand its laws.
Yep.
And you've been practicing it I've been practicing it for a number of years, and based on results, it works. So.
Yep.
That's a beautiful thing.
You've always been a big inspiration, and remember your persistence getting me to come to the first Aloha Aina conference. Body and Soil over at Steve Wilson's old place, and remember bringing my kids there, and I always just super proud that I was able to get my kids there and have that experience and making it happen. You brought in all these great people.
It's what fuels our spirits, right?
Yep.
I'm so appreciative that you've taken your business to not only a level unprecedented here on Maui for an organic farmer, regenerative farmer. And SCAD, man. I watch you, and it's like you just keep going, at light speed, and you have a beautiful family to support that. And bless your heart, man. And I really appreciate. You're the first person I call. I know a lot of farmers. You're the first person I call.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Well, at this, this is like now it makes we can do a whole field, you know what I mean, to make it like, okay, let's really do this. So we're excited to be able to do it, to get it documented. Looks like I have no problem fitting another.
Well, we have some over here.
I'm grateful. This is amazing. It feels like Christmas.
Right on.
Yeah, so we got all this great cardboard, and we're gonna do this experiment to mulch, because the cardboard, acts as a weed mat, but it's shredded in a unique way where it doesn't blow away, and it can still breathe but suppress weeds, and hold moisture in there and give the microbes lots of surface area to chew on. And we're going to put down some gypsum, because our soils here in Hawaii are, notoriously low in calcium. So gypsum is a pH neutral form of calcium, so it doesn't affect the pH, but it adds the calcium. So we're going to sprinkle that down the rows of some broccolini today. so that just got newly planted, and we're going to put the fiber right up to both sides, and hopefully that's going to save us moisture, so save us on water, as well as save our time on weeding that crop. And also, in case it happens to be raining, it should also help we don't have to get so much mud on the bottom of our shoes when we're harvesting the broccolini. That'll need to be harvested like twice a week, and less compaction in the soil. The broccolini is a crop that's going to be in the ground for 4 to 6 months, so that gives a weed suppression for a good chunk of time.
Loading up all these bundles of perforated cardboard weed mat that are 20-pound bundles, and they're all 17 inches wide because that's how the machine cuts it off at, and it's about 5 feet long each mat. So what we're doing here is perforating cardboard, and it's food grade cardboard. But today's cardboard, they don't add the chemicals they used to add in the past. Even if they did, I feel that microbial biomass that's in the soil can mitigate any of that. But needless to say, this is to help enhance the microbial biomass in the soil, especially used in conjunction with elements like gypsum that doesn't affect the pH and yet does affect the calcium levels in the soil. And the reason why it's important to affect the calcium levels in the soil is because that's what opens up the soil, is the calcium. And the protagonists in the soil, like potassium, sodium, magnesium, in excess, tighten the soil. So this is a great way to work in conjunction with those elements to be able to open up the soil and to change the weed profile. So you lay this down, it allows moisture and air to get through, and in conjunction with using gypsum, it will then start to rebuild the soil. So when this starts to break down and you add more gypsum and another layer of the weed mat, you're actually building the soil to be able to utilize in your plantings, as opposed to putting fabric or plastic down, which you eventually got to rip up. So we're very excited about what this represents and also what it does in keeping out of the landfill. And this is all from food grade cardboard, yep, that we get from Department of Agriculture in pallets that come in with food on them. It's a requirement. So instead of sending it to the dump, we upcycle it, and we're doing this pilot program on Oko'a farms to see how we can apply it on a larger scale and support the farmer and be able to not have to use a fabric or plastic that eventually has to be ripped up anyhow. Keeping things out of the landfill is, in essence, what we're striving for.
380-foot row, and in this this bed we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of baby broccolini.
So what we're going to do here is lay down gypsum first, and the reason why we're doing that is this island is basically calcium deficient. That's good. That's good. And so in laying down the gypsum, basically in raising the calcium levels, it's been known that when you have good calcium saturation in the soil, it will change the weed profile. you're not going to get the deep cuckoo kind of weeds that you normally would see. So by adding the gypsum over time, especially once the weed mat starts to deteriorate, and you come back and add more gypsum and more weed mat, over time you'll see the tilth of your soil change. Because what really tightens up your soil is the sodium, the magnesium, and the potassium when they're in excess. And a way to get rid of that excess is to make sure your calcium levels are high enough. It's a very important cation in the soil that will open your soil up, flocculate your soil, so it's not dense like hard pan kind. What the weed mat is doing is it's allowing moisture and air to go through.
Farming is magical and beautiful, and you get to look at all the clouds and the green, and some days you're blessed and you get, you know, a good breeze when you're working, and the birds are singing, and you have a lot of beauty all the way around you. And you know, to say that it's a grounding experience, but it's always good to use our physical bodies. That's the glamorous part, but the reality is sometimes the conditions aren't right, or it's windy or buggy, it's raining, or the sun is, you know, 100%, and tripping over things and getting dirty, tearing up your, you know, clothes and your hands, and you push through, and when you're done you can look back and see like, you did it. And it's always like a gamble, because you don't know. We can only do the best we can, and try to, you know, hope that all the knowledge that we've gained can translate into good results. And the reality is sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we can do a lot of work and have nothing really, you know, worth harvesting. And that's a risk we take, because, you know, we know what it can be, but there's no guarantees that, you know, it's not gonna, the wind's not gonna come and cause problems, or we're not gonna get 30 inches of rain in a day, like happened to us a couple months back, where it didn't matter how we did it or how well we did it. It's just, you know, we lost a lot of crops. So you have to be willing to fall down and get back up and try it again, and learn from each time. Buenos dias. So here's the broccolini. We're harvesting it right now, and you can see the mulch still in place down here, and reports are it's been really saving a lot of moisture. This is summertime. We're now deep into July, and the sun can be very brutal. So being able to have this soil be shaded in this way allows the microbial population to thrive underground and reduce the amount of water needed. And that shade also prevents the germination of a lot of additional weeds as well. So I would say it's successful. If we were going to put like wood chips on it, it would have been a tremendous amount more expensive, more labor. And this is all, you know, good carbon that is it's now part of the landscape. Wind was starting to get underneath it, so we did scoop a little bit of weight for soil on top of it, but the weeding has been dramatically diminished compared to not, and we've definitely had to use a lot less water. And we've been harvesting it for a little while now, and we're getting 2 harvests per week out of this field. So it's looking pretty good, pretty productive, and we're going to go check on the cardboard mulch at the at the bottom part of the farm.